evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Liquorgate probe has now reached Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party boss Arvind Kejriwal's door. Number 2, in the Aam Aadmi Party, Manish Sisodia is already in CBI's custody, and the agency claimed that it had found more evidence against the former Deputy Chief Minister. And now, sources are telling Times Now that Arvind Kejriwal has been asked to appear before the CBI on the 16th of April. That's 2 days from now, when the Aam Aadmi Party boss is expected to be quizzed by the agency in this liquor scam. Well, even though Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has not been named as an accused, either in the ED prosecution complaint or the charge sheet or by the CBI charge sheet, his name has been mentioned in remand notes and the supplementary prosecution complaints filed by the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI. The ED had mentioned that Arvind Kejriwal's close aide Vijay Nair, who's been a associate working in his camp office, Arvind Kejriwal had and he had arranged a video call between Kejriwal and another accused in the Liquorgate scam, Sameer Mahendru, now in the CBI custody. Even the ED remand note had said that YSRCP Member of Parliament MS Reddy had met Arvind Kejriwal regarding the liquor business on one occasion, and Kejriwal had even welcomed Reddy's entry into the liquor business, stating that he could be in touch with Vijay Nair, who was Kejriwal's bacha, as quoted in this charge sheet. Times Now has also learnt from sources that summons to Kejriwal have come after the CBI had confronted Manish Sisodia with his then secretary in the excise department, C. Arvind, and then excise commissioner Arva Gopi Krishna. And in that joint confrontation, C. Arvind had revealed that the decision to fix 12% profit margin was taken when Sisodia summoned Arvind, and this meeting was held at Arvind Kejriwal's residence in March 2021. Even as many questions have been raised, take a look at what the Aam Aadmi Party's allegations have been.
Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is reaching his residence on the day he has been summoned by the CBI. Mr. Kejriwal, what do you have to say? Mr. Kejriwal, what do you have to say on CBI summon? Well, this is no response has come from Mr. Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi, after CBI summoned him in the alleged Delhi excise policy scam. He will present before the CBI on 16th of April, Sunday. Remember, this is the first time that he will be in front of the CBI.
After summons was sent to the Delhi Chief Minister, the Aam Aadmi Party has lashed out at the BJP, calling it a witch hunt, and claimed that it was a conspiracy to silence the Delhi Chief Minister, who has been raising questions not just about the Prime Minister's degree, but also about the Adani connection. Listen in.
जिस दिन दिल्ली की विधानसभा में दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने कहा था कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के दोस्त, उनके दोस्त की कंपनी में लगा हुआ लाखों करोड़ का काला धन दरअसल देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी का पैसा है। उसी दिन मैंने अरविंद जी से कह दिया था, अरविंद जी, अगला नंबर अब आपका होगा।
हमारा पहले दिन से यह मानना है कि दिल्ली में जो आबकारी नीति में घोटाला हुआ है करोड़ों रुपए का, उसके सूत्रधार अरविंद केजरीवाल हैं। एक ना एक दिन तो उनको जाना ही था। अगर जांच एजेंसी ने उन्हें बुलाया है तो मैं इस फैसले का स्वागत करता हूं। जिस तरह से यहाँ के युवाओं को नशे में धकेलने की कोशिश की गई है और जिस तरह से करोड़ों रुपए दिल्ली की जनता का लूटा गया है, उसका ये परिणाम तो होना ही था।
See, a few days back, Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal had shown the entire nation the detailed plan, the detailed roadmap of the corruption of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his special friend. So once Arvind Kejriwal put before the country this corruption by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it was clear Arvind Kejriwal was going to be the next target. This is something he said in the speech himself.
कानून अपना काम कर रहा है हिसाब से, कानून से डरना नहीं चाहिए अगर आपने कुछ नहीं किया तो, लेकिन अगर आपने किया है तो कानून अपना काम करेगा, कानून को आपको जवाब देना पड़ेगा। के अरविंद जो मनीष सिसोदिया के पीएस थे, उन्होंने अपने स्टेटमेंट में साफ कहा है कि जो भी हुआ है, जो भी डीलिंग हुई है, वो अरविंद केजरीवाल के घर पर हुई है, अरविंद केजरीवाल के कहने पर हुई है। तो इस बात का जवाब तो अरविंद केजरीवाल को देना पड़ेगा। अगर सीबीआई ने बुलाया है तो कानून अपना काम कर रहा है।
So the legitimate question we are asking on the Newshour tonight, is this vendetta or fight against corruption? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, Suhail Seth, columnist, Sujata Pandey, political analyst, Dinesh Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BRS, Sanjay Jha, author and suspended Congress leader. But my first question goes to Ms. Priyanka Kakkar, national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Priyanka Kakkar, the question tonight is that how does the Aam Aadmi Party already know that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is going to be arrested? The fact of the matter is that he's been summoned by the CBI. His name has also come up in the supplementary charge sheets of the ED as well as the CBI. Maybe it's just a cross-checking exercise. How are you so convinced that it is all about an arrest at this moment?
Navika ji, good evening to you and all your viewers. Navika ji, this is a pattern which has been followed in case of Aam Aadmi Party. My voice is echoing, if you could please check that.
Correcting that, go on.
Navika ji, in case, yes, Navika ji, this is a new model followed in the case of Aam Aadmi Party's leaders, that there is a pre-trial arrest. You know, there is an investigation for over a year. There are 500, 600 raids conducted on Manish ji. There are 3 charge sheets. None of them name him. None of them can bring out any money trail against him. For further investigation, he has been jailed even before a trial starts, even before he is named in any charge sheets till date, despite best attempts. So this is a pattern that has been followed consistently by the agencies governed by the BJP, and I say this with full responsibility that it appears to be a quid pro quo. The ED director gets an extension after extension unconstitutionally, and we are hounded by these agencies. There is that thing. Navika ji, let me also say this with full responsibility that the essential difference between BJP, a low IQ dumb party, and the Aam Aadmi Party is that we have given up very lucrative rich careers where we were successful. We came with the idea of making sure that in the 21st century, India is not talking about bijli, pani, makan. These are basic bunyad mools, basic bunyad facilities which the previous governments and the BJP should have ensured for citizens by now.
You were talking about corruption because the Aam Aadmi Party is gone out of India against corruption. So this is an issue of corruption. Why do you get into personal slander of calling somebody dumb and stupid? Those are unparliamentary words. My only question to you is Manish Sisodia, who you name again and again, and Mr. Satyendra Jain.
Use the word corruption in the parliament.
No. Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain are being scrutinized by the courts as well. The courts have not thought it okay to give any bail. So why only blame the agencies? Why only blame the BJP?
This is the unfortunate, the way that the criminal justice system is designed, that the ED has been able to procure extension after extension, and the day the bail was listed, the CBI was told in Satyendra Jain's case, show us where the criminality is. The judge was changed. You will be aware of that. Even in Manish ji's case, where no further remand was necessary, the ED sought a further remand. So they are misusing the law to their advantage, till date, they have not been able to prove a single charge.
Okay.
Even previously, 165 of our MLAs and MPs, they were imprisoned, there were cases on them, 134 acquitted. It took 7 to 8 years. They just want to manage the optics, they want to manage a perception. If they want to be fair, there should be a JPC on Adani.
But ma'am, on this issue, 14 opposition parties have gone to court. You have gone to court on ED and CBI's guidelines. The court has thrown the request out that they cannot give any special treatment to politicians. The fact of the matter today is that you are blaming the courts, you are blaming the agencies, you are blaming the BJP on this issue. So let me get an answer from Shehzad Poonawala. Shehzad Poonawala, is this about political?
I am blaming the investigation agencies.
Okay. Is this about political vendetta?
Governed by the BJP.
May I?
Yes, please.
Let's assume for a moment that the BJP, the agencies are extremely vindictive. Let's take that argument on record. Point number one. The courts ultimately decide, and here are 3 instances where the court decided. First, prima facie enough proof to show that Satyendra Jain and aides used Hawala funds to buy agricultural lands. Court said this. Ma'am, please take a look. I'm showing you the news report. Secondly, here is a case where Manish Sisodia, para 41, and I know she will say that no, but the court has not said that this is going to make any difference in the trial, but prima facie when the charge sheet was filed and cognizance was taken, here's what the court says. As per the allegations made by prosecution and evidence collected in support thereof, the applicant Manish Sisodia can prima facie be held to be the architect of the said criminal conspiracy, and 90 to 100 crore rupees was meant for him. This has been a finding of the court, not contradicted, and therefore people like Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, Vijay Nair are in jail without getting relief from the courts unless the court is managing the optics for us. And forget this. Chalo, let's forget this. Let's assume for a moment that we got judges change. I don't know how judges can be changed by the executive, but let's assume Lalu Prasad Yadav got convicted in UPA tenure 2013. I just want Priyanka Kakkar, without any kind of distraction, deviation, is Lalu Prasad Yadav corrupt or was he a victim of vendetta politics? Point number one. I hope she will answer that question. Point number two, I don't want to get into who's done what, but Manish Sisodia does not have a graduation degree. He just has a diploma. And then he became the kingpin of the Sharab Ghotala. So that is pretty lucrative career for him, where he made 100 crore rupees. But having said that, that's a side chat. No, that's not an allegation. It's a finding, ma'am. Here, I'm not talking about allegation. It's a finding. But let me come to the substantive part of the debate. The substantive part of the debate. Navika ji, may I complete? I heard the spokesperson. Can I complete? Yes. Now, Navika ji, I have 3 or 4 specific questions. If I'm lying, you answer in your own term.
Okay, Priyanka Kakkar, rest assured, as soon as Shehzad Poonawala, finishes making his point, I'll give you the right to rebuttal.
Now, Navika ji, I just have 3 or 4 questions which I need them answered specifically. In 2021, the show cause notice was issued by the excise department of the said government, Delhi government, that certain companies which are blacklisted and manufacturing companies have been allowed to come into this policy when it was not allowed. What action was taken on those said show cause notices? Money came in and no action was taken. Point number 2, the fact of the matter is that the commission went from 5 to 12%, even though the Dhawan committee report said do not increase the commission. Third, wholesale was supposed to be kept with the public sector, government sector. How did it go to the private sector? These specific questions will never be answered by any Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. By the way, this entire matter started in August 17, 2022. In March, sometime, man makes a speech about Adani, but let's assume this is about Adani. Here is a project given to Adani by the Punjab government. It's a solar power project of 150 megawatts. This date is March 2, 2022. It was given during the Congress tenure, but their government is in power. If they are not with Adani and they are convinced that Adani is the most corrupt, because here is a picture, latest picture of Raghav Chadda with Adani, although I don't attach much importance to pictures, I want to know whether Priyanka Kakkar, the official spokesperson, will take 2 positions. A, is Lalu corrupt or is it vendetta? And 2, will the Punjab government cancel this ongoing solar power plant project of Adani with them right now? Can she announce that? Otherwise, I will have to say that Adani और आम आदमी पार्टी का कुछ तो रिश्ता है, ये देखिए.
Priyanka Kakkar, respond.
I don't know how to respond to these dumb arguments, Navika ji. Again, he is saying, yes, I'll come in. This man sitting on your show is blatantly lying about 90 to 100 crores. My voice is really echoing. Please correct it.
Correcting it.
It is my request.
It's in a court order, para 41. Don't get so hyper, man.
So 90 to 100 crores, 90 to 100 crores, this man blatantly lying on your show is a finding of the court. In that case, there is no trial needed. Who are you to put questions to me? I am saying let it be proven by the JPC that there is nothing wrong with the Adani. Let the Punjab agreement
said no for
also,
JPC. They said state government should probe.
Let that also be investigated. And when
TMC has said state government should probe. Are you ready for a probe in Punjab projects? TMC has said no for JPC. They said state governments which have given projects should probe. Will you order a probe in Punjab? Will you order a probe in Punjab? Take a position, Priyanka. Priyanka, take a position. Will you order a probe in Punjab? Will you order a probe in Punjab? Come on, Priyanka, take a position. Why are you defending? Why are you defending the project? Go on, take a position. Come on, take a position.
Allow her to.
Come on, take a position,
Why
Priyanka.
can't you set up a JPC?
I can't believe the defense she's putting up for a project in Punjab.
You will have in the studio. You are sitting in the studio. She's on a live link. There is a delay. Allow her to make her point.
To hear.
Yes, Priyanka.
Don't cry because I asked you a difficult question.
No, let's not get personal. Let's stay on the issue. Priyanka Kakkar, 2 questions. Is Lalu Prasad Yadav corrupt? Number 1, after the conviction, what does the Aam Aadmi Party think today? Because what it thought earlier, we all know it's in public domain. Today, you're hobnobbing with them to make a joint united opposition. Are they corrupt or not? And is Lalu Prasad Yadav and his party part of your anti-corruption crusade from where you were born?
Navika ji, please let me answer. Please ensure that you put a leash on this man who's making personal comments so that he goes viral on social media. So please make sure of it. Now I'll answer. First, he spoke about 90 to 100 crores finding. 90 to 100 crores finding. In that case, this man should know there is no trial needed. Because according to him, the court has already found. That is a very dumb argument. Padhe likhe hote, theek se to pata rehta. Dusri cheez, about his excise policy. The LG approved the excise policy, even suggested amendments. It is the same excise policy which is earning us a record revenue in Punjab, 41.8%, and also made sure that we earned 6251 crores in Delhi. Had it not been withdrawn, we would have hit our 9500 crores projection.
So it was a good policy.
Thirdly,
right? It was a good policy, right?
Asking me about Lalu, we respect the mandate.
Okay.
Lalu ji, we respect the mandate of the court, and if his son is now hobnobbing with us like you call it, please ask him what does he think of A.K. Anthony's son, who A.K. Anthony was a corrupt man according to them.
No.
What is his son doing in their party?
Excuse me, you never said A.K. Anthony was corrupt.
All we are saying is let
one
there be a JPC.
second. Lalu pe sawal tha, Tejasvi pe nahi tha. Lalu is convicted 4 times.
Let there be a JPC.
Is Lalu corrupt? Yes or no? Why is Aam Aadmi Party so scared of taking a position on Lalu? ये लालू से रिश्ता क्या है इनका? ये लालू से रिश्ता क्या है?
I'm opening up the debate. I want to get in other voices on the panel, and I want to ask you, Dr. Sanjay Jha. 1 minute.
Put a leash on this man.
Dr. Sanjay Jha, where is the Congress today? With Aam Aadmi Party or against Aam Aadmi Party? Because earlier position was that Aam Aadmi Party had some hanky-panky in Liquorgate. What's your position today? And I'm talking about a holistic position, not just your position on the case and your political position separately. Just tell me, where does the Congress Party stand?
Navika, I cannot, take an official position on behalf of the party, but a couple of points need to be made on your program. Number 1, I think the Bharatiya Janata Party has unleashed a very dangerous culture of political vendetta. And I'm telling you because I also know a lot of politicians from different parties. This will inevitably one day come back to bite the BJP. And I can tell you that's the way politics run. And, people are not going to forget in a hurry the humiliation, the targeting, and the harassment which has been meted out to many politicians. Your question is valid. I do maintain that if there are charges against any politician, feel free to pursue it. But, Navika, all your viewers, I'm sure, are not just, casual viewers. People understand politics. Many of them are political junkies. They will all go back what has become a very popular lexicon in Indian politics, the great washing machine of India, which is the BJP. And I can tell you, today Karnataka, where the Congress and the BJP are in a fight, and I'm not exaggerating, you and I said it the other day on your program as well, it's very ironical that the 40% commission government doesn't have the CBI and ED, parked there. They should have been sitting there to investigate the rampant corruption which has happened in Karnataka. And I'm going to predict that the BJP will be completely whacked out of Karnataka in the coming few weeks. Now, the BJP spokesperson raised the issue of Lalu Prasad Yadav. Let me answer that. It's not Priyanka Singh. Let me answer that. Because Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav was a Congress party ally. He's actually scored a self-goal. I'll tell you why. And that is an exposure of the great washing machine theory. Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav was an ally of the Congress, but under the rules, he still had to face the law. And that's the way it ought to be. Not like the BJP, where every leader is apparently pure as running water. And the very important point, Navika, that end of day, when you are creating your institutions of investigation against corruption like the CBI, where the CBI under the BJP had a midnight hour raid on itself, where the CBI chief had to go to the Supreme Court against the government of Mr. Modi, it tells you the mockery of India's institutions. I would feel that today, by the way, I come from Bihar. Many of the Biharis are actually bureaucrats. And through your channel, I'm going to tell many people working in the ED and the CBI, please do not lower your reputation because of the Modi government. The Modi government will go one day. There will be a non-BJP government. But officers of their integrity who have risen through their own effort, through civil services examination, they should never compromise their career because they're being bullied.
Well, I hope you'd given that lecture even when the UPA was in power. But, lectures are when people are in opposition. They're probably not followed when people are in power. And that's cutting across the board. Dr. Sanjay Jha, no personal attack on anybody. But Sohail said, my question to you is this, that there is great grandiose stands that are being taken by various parties in the opposition. The question is it really political usage of agencies? Is it happening for the first time? Number one. And number two, the question this time around is about whether the BJP has gone too far, because virtually every leader in the opposition is under attack from agencies. How do you respond?
So Sanjay Jha, who's normally pretty au fait with history, today somehow seems to have escaped the contextual historical analysis. Let me just go back in time. You remember when S.L. Kirloskar was arrested, Kapil Mehra Orke was raided, a famous phrase had been created by Arun Shourie, no other than him, saying raid Raj, number one. Number two, Partha Chatterjee was also called in for investigation many times, and when they finally raided him, they found 73 crores of cash in his friend's home. Obviously, that cash wasn't planted by the ED for the ED to pick up that cash all over again. So it was there. Number three, let's assume there is political vendetta. Take for granted, yes, Modi is unleashing all the agencies on his opponents. There are only two things that we as common citizens must be concerned with, whether suspended or not. Number one, that person who has been raided or investigated or finally arrested, was that person indulging in corruption? Neither Priyanka, nor Sanjay Jha, nor Shehzad, nor Navika, nor I can make any arguments. We can only assume it is vendetta, and let's assume it is vendetta. That argument will finally find its way to a court of law. That court of law will either say that these agencies have a very poor conviction rate, they have a massive raiding rate, but they have a very poor conviction rate. Then Priyanka Kakkar has all the right to say, see, I told you so. But to second guess when you're being called for an investigation, two things happen. And this, I'm just saying this from an individual perspective. The first thing that happens is you automatically take a position that, look, I'm absolutely clean and kosher, and I don't need to submit myself to any investigation because that investigation is biased. So you've already thrown the baby with the bathwater. The second is willy-nilly, and Priyanka alluded to that, willy-nilly, the courts of law at least till now, haven't been compromised. Now, if we believe that even the courts of law have been compromised, then we're on a very sticky ground. Because then what you're saying is that every institution in this country has been enslaved to the BJP. That is worrisome. Now, if that is the case and that you genuinely believe, Aam Aadmi Party has done fantastic work in terms of being the most recently founded party and achieved so much. Take them to court, go to Supreme Court. But we cannot every time justify a raid by saying that actually this raid is not a raid, it is vendetta. By that logic, there'll be no one who's corrupt. And I totally agree with, I don't know if it was Sanjay Jha, whoever made the point. If a BJP person has also been found, like I said on Navika Kumar's program, what happened with Shubhendu Adhikari, and overnight Shubhendu Adhikari from thief became, the honest person because he moved from Congress to the BJP, TMC to the BJP, was reprehensible. I said it on her program. So I'm not holding a brief for anyone. All I'm saying is spare some institutions. Let the institutions get the benefit of doubt. And as Sanjay gave his rather mellifluous advice just now to his compatriots of Bihar who are in the ED and CBI, as if those guys have all the time to watch television programs.
Of course they're watching mine, Sohail.
Yeah, they must be watching yours. Oh, but you have a duty to do. Don't bind yourself into disrepute. Yet the point I'm making is that if they are bringing themselves into disrepute, they'll be caught out. They will. Today, you cannot justify not acting on corrupt people by saying that, oh, it's political vendetta. Then there'll be no raids, there'll be no investigation, no one will get caught. Then you continue to sing merrily, saying that everything is clean in this government.
Absolutely. And Priyanka Kakkar, the question is the charges that have been made are a little mind-boggling. I don't know. These are charges as of now made by the agencies. But one charge says 170 phones were destroyed, why were phones being destroyed if everything was above board? Then there is another claim made by an agency which says that deleted files were retrieved, and in that there was mention of some draft report, and there was some mention of a meeting that took place in Arvind Kejriwal's house. My question is that if the agencies are saying this and this has been submitted in a charge sheet in a court of law, then the matter is serious. If there was nothing untoward, why were these, so-called alleged footprints being deleted, destroyed, what have you? To the common man, you owe an answer, whether you owe an answer to the BJP or other political parties or not.
Navika ji, let me first begin by saying this categorically because, the BJP spokesperson again tried to project a different interpretation to what I said. We have utmost respect for the court of law and no one else. Let me say this with full responsibility. One thing, what we are questioning is the misuse of the agencies, and that also involves planting these news. Navika ji, this is not new. In Harshad Mehta's case, though, it was clearly proven that the CBI was planting such news. Even Sanjay Raut's case, it was clearly said that after 100 days of when he was arrested, that glaring discrepancies in what the ED was saying and the charge sheet was saying and what the truth came out. So ultimately the truth will prevail. I have no doubt, no qualms in saying this, but it's just a matter of time. And what the BJP is consistently trying to do is project us corrupt like them. That is their ultimate projection. Because again, I cannot help but mention that, there is no investigation on Himant Biswa Sarma after they are the ones who kept claiming that somebody gave him 20 lakh rupees a month. They published a book to that effect. Ask Shehzaji, was that book published or not? They published a book on Himant Biswa Sarma. They said similarly for Narayan Rane. For Sagma on 18th February, for Amit Shah ji, he was the most corrupt man in Meghalaya. On 2nd March, they were the first to give support to form the
Fair
government.
Point. So fair point.
All we're
How
saying
can
is,
you raise the question of Lalu when this has been the previous stand? And second point that she's saying is that the process sometimes becomes the punishment. Okay. So you will call them corrupt today, and it will take 8 years for the court, or 10 years for the court to declare somebody innocent.
Okay.
So
now please may I answer both these questions.
Yes.
Let's start with the first question. Navika ji, in political life, 10 people make 10 allegations on 10 parties, right? So therefore my standard, as Suhail's standard is, let's go by what only court of law says about any political personality. I discount even the statements made by ABC about Nitish ji about Tejasvi about Nitish. Court has held Lalu is corrupt 4 times. And therefore with folded hands, dear Priyanka ji, Lalu को कोर्ट ने 4 बार कन्विक्ट किया है. Does Aam Aadmi Party, through you, and you're a very nice spokesperson, do you consider Lalu to be corrupt or a product of vendetta politics? Because one second, ma'am, I have not finished. Ma'am, can I please? Why do they get so hyper about Lalu? ये लालू में कौन सी नस इनकी दब जाती है? लालू से कौन सी नस दब जाती है? नाविका मेरे बात हो जाने
Priyanka, allow him to ask the second question and you can respond.
छोटी बातों में आपका अपमान हो जाता है.
Madam, I'll give you the chance. I'll give you the chance to rebut him. Let him ask the questions. One is on Lalu and the second.
देखिए, और अभी हमारे संजय भाई ने बताया है, संजय भाई ने क्रेडिट भी लिया है. देखिए, टाइम्स नाउ मैं ये नहीं करने वाला, मेरी बात बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, वो सुनाई दे, ऐसे कैकोफोनी में नहीं सुनाई देगी. प्लीज गिव मी द रिस्पेक्ट आई गिव टू द अदर पैनलिस्ट. थैंक यू टाइम्स नाउ. मैं सिर्फ इतना कह रहा हूं कि संजय भाई ने अभी बताया कि लालू गॉट कन्विक्टेड ड्यूरिंग यूपीए टेन्योर, तो वेंडेटा को कोई पॉलिटिक्स ही नहीं था. नाउ आई एम आस्किंग विद फोल्डेड हैंड्स, आई इंडिया अगेंस्ट करप्शन, अन्ना हजारे के अनुयायी, आज justification of corruption नहीं होगा. So clearly Priyanka without fear or favor will say RJD and Lalu is corrupt. I hope by the end of her show she'll do that. Point number 2, she's saying Adani. TMC has said we don't want JPC. Every state who has given project, whenever they have given project, should cancel the project and should do opposition, should do a probe on that. Will the Punjab government, for the project given to Adani during Congress tenure, now, as of now, take a position that you will order a probe on it? Yes or no? Otherwise, who is defending Adani? Just like Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh are not willing to cancel or take a probe on Adani, are you also defending Adani? Very humbly, don't get angry, ma'am. शांत रहिए, प्राणायाम करिए, इतना गुस्सा मत होइए.
प्रियंका,
लालू जी करप्ट है, हाँ या ना?
I wish you had more brains to understand what
I don't have, ma'am. I'm a very humble, small person. आप बोलिए ना.
बार-बार आप dumb brains ये कहेंगी.
नहीं, ये इनकी संस्कृति है, ये अरविंद केजरीवाल की संस्कृति है.
Respond and this debate is going to go nowhere.
लालू करप्ट है कि नहीं है?
प्रियंका,
लालू करप्ट है.
Without adjective, respond.
किससे मिलना है?
लालू पे
कितने बजे घर आना है?
Okay.
No, I think these people are the ones who have only picked up muddas which are personal to people. They have not spoken about unemployment. They have done इनकी failed policy demonetization, जिससे लोगों का धंधा बंद हो गया, जिससे लोगों की नौकरियां चली गई. 45-year high पे unemployment, 30-year high पे महंगाई. LPG most expensive in the world, in India. Petrol at number 3. अरे भाग आप रहे हैं लोगों के मुद्दों से.
कौन सा सवाल पूछ लिया मैंने आपसे? लालू करप्ट है कि नहीं है? वो तो ट्वीट करते थे अरविंद जी करप्ट कन्विक्शन से पहले. आज क्या हुआ आपको? आज क्या हुआ है जी? लालू में करप्शन नहीं दिख रहा. 4 बार कन्विक्टेड संजय भाई ने बताया उनके समय हुए. प्रियंका जी ऐसे मत करिए, अन्ना हजारे भी देख रहे होंगे. आप कहां से कहां आ गए? लालू
बीजेपी आपको मंदिर भी नहीं जाने देंगे.
छोड़िए ना इधर उधर की बातें. लालू करप्ट है कि नहीं है?
Let me get in.
एक चीज नोट, नाविका जी, ऐसा स्टैंड डिफेंस लालू का आरजेडी भी नहीं करती. आरजेडी भी नहीं करती ऐसा.
The show is not about Lalu. The show is not about Lalu. So let me ask Mr. Dinesh Chaudhary, spokesperson of the BRS. I'm really sorry for coming to you late. But Mr. Dinesh Chaudhary, the question is this just a joint stand of opposition parties, to target the BJP because the agencies are being let loose? Or let me ask you the question, are agencies not being able to prove their point in courts? Because after all, if a case is filed by an agency, then it goes to the scrutiny of the court. And if people like Mr. Satyendra Jain hasn't got bail for 10 months, if Mr. Manish Sisodia hasn't got bail over the last 3-4 months, the question is the courts will have to scrutinize. Or are political parties going to take a stand on this when they've questioned every part of the provisions of the ED, of the CBI, sought for guidelines, and all of that has been thrown out by the courts? Who will the political parties believe?
Navika ji, normally nobody would have an objection to an inquiry in criminal and economic offences cases by central investigating agencies. But the problem arises when they become a part of a process to intimidate strong opposition voice. We have seen phenomenal rise in filing of cases against opposition leaders by CBI, ED and IT after 2014. And we have also seen a strange phenomenon where no action is taken against them once they join BJP. Right now, the entire opposition is asking for a joint parliamentary committee and inquiry on Adani Enterprises, but sadly neither Modi ji nor BJP government has responded to it. But opposition leaders are investigated and inquired just on basis of hearsay. Also, Navika ji, to answer your question on how the delay is affecting these sort of things, I am reading out a tweet in which live law quotes Mumbai PMLA court. Mumbai PMLA court lashes out at ED over pending investigations, says no trial concluded
on
since
Sanjay Raut's case,
inception.
as Priyanka Kakkar mentioned, on Sanjay Raut's case, definitely the court made some stinging observations. But then let me read out the observations in Mr. Sisodia's case. In this case, the court has said that it seems that there is a criminal conspiracy and the accused has been deeply involved in formulation as well as implementation of the excise policy to ensure achievement of objectives of the said conspiracy. The court also said that payment of advance kickbacks of around 90 to 100 crore were meant for him and his other colleagues. These are not my words, observations of the court.
These are actually findings.
Yeah, these have been mentioned. They've also said, you know, in this there may be serious apprehensions of destruction or tampering of further evidence and even influencing of some prime witnesses, and so many of these notings by the court. How then can anybody deny that the courts are not looking into the case? That's the question, Sujata Pandey.
So first of all, now before I begin and to your questions, first of all, naming the Prime Minister without any proof, is objectionable for every citizen of India who has voted for him. He has not been named in Hindenburg or any other report which has been published so far. So if AAP has courage and I say, hai himmat, तो सबूत है, कोर्ट में लेके जाइए, यहाँ आके झूठी बात नहीं फैलाइए. Secondly, advising the ED and CBI officers to act in a certain way doesn't suit, and politicians should refrain from doing so because I think they are intelligent more than most of us. And coming to the questions, I have 5 questions for the AAP spokesperson. The first is the very obvious. We used to see, and we are very used to of seeing Arvind Kejriwal every now and then on doing press conferences. Why did they hide today? Why was Sanjay Singh sent to do the press conference? And why did Sanjay Singh not answer one question on the liquor scam? Not even one point, but kept changing the goalpost to Adani and Modi relationship. Third, Sisodia and Satinder Jain are in jail. Sisodia's bail has been rejected twice in a row. And as Navika ji was quoting, the court has also made observation. Why is AAP silent on those fronts? Why is Kejriwal used to ask 1 crore rupee as a ghee pay? What is this new mode of payment? People of India and people of Delhi would like to know. Another thing is, why did Arvind Kejriwal, as retrieved by the cloud data, did a FaceTime to call Vijay Nair as his own bacha to people of the South Cartel? And what is his linkage with the South Cartel? Why was the meetings held in the Oberoi? Who is Sameer Mahendru? Who is Bucci Babu? Who is Gautam Malhotra? Who is Vijay Nair? And who is Arun Pillai? And what is their connection to you? And the last but not the least, why were so many SIM cards destroyed? Just out of fancy? Please answer these questions.
Not just SIM cards. These were telephones which were destroyed.
SIM cards.
Priyanka Kakkar, that's the question.
And let her not start on Modi and all the Adani.
Let me first say this with full responsibility, Navika ji.
Yes.
Yes, I'm answering. Let me say this with full responsibility, Navika ji, that I, other spokespersons, our top leaders have exhaustively attended debates, done press conference to answer each and every question on excise policy and tell you about the commission and tell the viewers about how this is one of the best excise policy that the country has seen and should
why did you withdraw it? Why did you withdraw it then?
Will stop throughout the country. Madam, let me first speak. I have got your questions. I have answered this. यार आप मेरी पुरानी debate देख लो क्योंकि इतना time मुझे मिलेगा नहीं मैं answer कर देती हूँ फिर भी.
एक बात भी एक answer नहीं है.
When you spoke about Vijay Nair, Sameer Mahendru, MS Reddy, I'm coming. अरे मैडम आप ऑफिशियली भाजपा ज्वाइन कर लीजिए. अब ये विजय नायर, समीर महेंद्रू, MS रेड्डी, जब इनकी बात हो रही है बार-बार नविका जी, तो लेट मी टेल यू with full responsibility again that Vijay Nair was granted bail in the CBI matter and he was picked up by the ED. Vijay Nair has again petitioned the High Court, which petition is listed on 19th May, where he's categorically said that this is nothing but a motivated political vendetta case. One. Secondly, when it comes to Sameer Mahendru, he has given an affidavit stating कि जबरदस्ती बयानबाजी दिलवा रहे हैं. मैडम आपने पूछा है सुन लीजिए ना.
Not interrupt. Please do not interrupt.
मैडम सुन लीजिए ना. पूछा है तो आपने.
Okay, I don't want to discuss court dates. My only question is, do you have a response? Do you have a response on the destruction of evidence as noted by the court, attempts to destroy evidence on that point?
Yes. Even that, a very exhaustive PC has been done by Sanjay Singh ji today. If you would have noticed, our Honorable Rajya Sabha MP showed the contradictions between the statements of the CBI and the ED that these phones were not destroyed. The CBI says these phones are in our possession, the ED says was destroyed. So all of this will take time, Navika ji, to come to a conclusion, and ultimately we will be clean, because all of these allegations are only so that you and I can sit here and debate, so that we don't talk about the joblessness, so that we don't talk about JPC on Adani, so that we don't talk about Berozgari, Mehngai, so that we don't talk about this unpad government reduces the budget of education year after year. This is so that we don't talk about 60,000 schools closed.
Okay, is this to divert the attention of the people?
Look, Navika, first
okay, those are visuals of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal just coming in from his residence. I think he's just stepped out of his car to just to wave. He hasn't said anything, but he waved to the supporters who were waiting outside his house. Camera crews running after the car as the car just comes out of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's residence. Sheza.
Look, Navika, just now a spokesperson has said that one of the courts, CBI matter, has given one of the accused bail. That means the courts are functioning freely and fairly. Now, Sanjay Singh does not need to do PC every night or every evening and come up with the same hackneyed lines. He needs to just present the evidence of their innocence in a court. But let me tell you what the court said on this specific point, para 49. Hence, in light of the above discussions, keeping in mind of the totality of the facts and circumstances, this court is not inclined to release the applicant Manish Sisodia on bail, because as his release may adversely affect the ongoing investigation and will seriously hamper the progress thereof. This is not an observation, it's a finding that he is indulging in sabotaging the inquiry and investigation. Point number one. Point number two, my limited point is, ma'am, please, I do not interrupt anybody. Navika, kindly grant me.
You continue.
Yeah.
You can.
Navika, look, I am saying let's establish the ground. Navika, let's have a civil debate.
Okay.
Although it might be difficult for some people to engage in that kind of behavior as is seen tonight.
Please.
But let's engage in a civil debate. My limited point is, forget everything else. Lalu has been convicted 4 times. Why is the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson so scared in saying Lalu is a corrupt, convicted man? Point number 2, if this is all about Adani, Punjab government has an Adani project, solar project. Why is the government not taking the Punjab government not taking a position? Because it's fundamental. I'm not running away at all.
Before I end the debate, I just want to get a general citizen's perspective. And Suhail said, where do you see this going from here on? Is it only going to be tutu meme for politics, or really is something going to come out of these investigations to convict somebody, or is it just posturing before elections?
So first, if it continues this way and it continues across the board with only opposition parties, they will discredit themselves, because as someone on your program just now said, that if the investigation and the whole process takes 8 to 10 years, people lose faith in the credibility of both the investigation as well as the outcome. My advice would be, where there is corruption of a public nature, where there is public corruption with public money, we must create a fast track mechanism where these courts address this issue swiftly, so that people who are then acquitted and not convicted can lead their lives normally, because otherwise sometimes they also get debarred from elections. So it has a dual effect. My advice would be, in order to bring and build credibility of both the investigation as also the outcome, it's time we created separate fast-track courts. Like we have a PMLA court, we need to create courts for where there is public corruption and bring them to justice swiftly. Because otherwise, there will be two. Navika, you're right.
That's clearly something that we would want, because it is public money. It is the taxpayers' money. And if there is corruption, the truth should come out. And if there isn't a case that is proved, then the process cannot be the punishment for those who are accused in these cases. The question is, people still look at corruption as an issue. Credibility of investigations extremely important at this point. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much to my panelists joining me on the first debate. On the other side, ladies and gentlemen, after winning